Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hey, Bible group. Hey, Bat Falcon. No, I did not put out a reminder for this video because it's kind of just want to wish everybody a happy new year. Hope everybody had a good holiday so far. Just catch up on a few things. Actually, this is a new computer. I haven't even set the time on it yet. So it was already kind of throwing me off. It looks like I'll have to fix it later. Hey, Patty, how are you? It's been a while. How does it sound? I think last time the microphone wasn't plugged in. DrewTube is back. I'm going to have a Buc-ee's assorted sour, my favorite. You can get anything you want at Buc-ee's. If you don't have a Buc-ee's, you don't know what you're missing. It's the glorified truck stop of all time. Oh, hey, Eduardo, how are you? I had a nice time talking to you the other day. We'll have to do something soon. I talked to Tony. We're going to do something really soon. Like maybe me, you, and both Tonys can do like a Yuba show. Because there's so much new stuff happening with that. I can't even keep up with it all. So I'm glad you guys are on it. I mean, we don't want to miss anything. Yeah, we definitely need to do it again with all of us when we get all of us together and catch up on what's going on with that case. I mean, I think Yuba County 5 is as difficult as it is. I think it has to be solvable if we could just get it out to enough people. I think it's definitely one of those. I mean, I never thought Delphi would be solved, and now they have a prime suspect in custody. And speaking of Delphi, I'm gonna have my good friend Michael Sudas coming on soon to do a breakdown of the Delphi case. He's done some incredible work with the timeline and things like that, setting it up, the background of Delphi. I mean, it's amazing, and I'd be shocked if the people working in the prosecution on that case would not want to use some of the material he has come up with. He's one of the smartest people I know. He's a philosophy PhD, and he's just, I mean, he can break down the facts and really compartmentalize everything that went on with the Delphi case, which is incredible. So I think in about 2 weeks, we talked about, I'm going to have Michael on and cover some Delphi material. Does it sound good? The last microphone I tried to hook up didn't work well at all. Hey, Red Feather. Hey, Red Feather, I know you follow Professor Horan. I hear he's got a documentary coming out at some point on Peacock. That's called The Myth of the Zodiac. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's some great publicity for Professor Horn. That was on his last show over on his channel, which is called The Myth of the Zodiac Killer. So definitely want to check that out. Okay, I'm glad it sounds good. Has anyone been following the Idaho murders? The 4 college students that were murdered in Moscow, Idaho. That one is crazy. I mean, now that's yeah, me too. I don't know what's going on with that case. I talked to a friend of mine about it the other night, and he's kind of got a person of interest. This sounds really interesting. I'm not going to say who it is because he's still working on it, but I've heard all kinds of theories on what may have happened to these 4 college students that got murdered in early November in Moscow, Idaho. The 4 college students. I mean, it's just crazy. They were all 4 stabbed to death with like a hunting knife. 2 of the roommates were still home and they didn't wake up. It was a real big house near the fraternity row. And police are just baffled. You've heard of it? Yeah. They still have really no credible leads other than this Hyundai, the white Hyundai. and I think they said there was 2,200 of the white Hyundai Elantras registered to the campus, and then they're looking at 20,000 different Hyundai Elantras because someone picked up one on security camera footage. So that's a lot of cars to track down. Who knew that they had that many Hyundai Elantras in this certain, I think, a 3 or 4 year time period of the year of the car they're looking for? I mean, even if they find it, they don't know if the murderer was in the car or not, but that's just people they definitely want to talk to. But how do you go through 20,000 different Hyundai Elantras that are, I think it's a white color car? It's crazy. But with all the modern science we have, I really hope that this guy made a mistake and they catch him soon, because it's just insane that you can get away with something like that in this day and age with all the technology we have. But maybe it just takes time. But now it's been 6 weeks since these college students were murdered. Here's an article here. It says Idaho victim's dad says killer made a gaffe which will lead to capture. So I hope that's the case. He doesn't know what that is. I don't know if he has any more information than we do. This one of the fathers of one of the victims, I think it was one of the female victims. There was 3 female victims and 1 male. But he's thinking, he says, there's too many things that can get you caught up on, like DNA and video surveillance everywhere. That this isn't something that people get away with that goes unsolved. So he's still grappling with the excruciating loss of his 21-year-old daughter, Maddie. Yeah, that's sad. I hope they figure out. You think it was the ex-boyfriend? I heard that theory too. That the one girl they said that was attacked, I can't remember if that was Madison or not, had an ex-boyfriend. I think the father said of the wounds that she was kind of attacked differently than the other 2 females and the male. So it's possible. I thought they looked at him though, or I think the parents said that they didn't feel the ex-boyfriend was involved, but maybe they don't know, or maybe this guy was just so good that he Kaylee's ex. Okay. Maybe I think her parents thought the guy was innocent, but how do they know? Maybe this guy was just a good actor, but I haven't seen that being kicked around. But I've seen theories where they think it was a blue collar guy that just got mad. Maybe he was attracted to one of the females and she turned him down, and then he followed her home and took his rage out on her, and then somehow the other 3 got caught up in it. I don't know, but that is one I want to see solved quickly, because that is crazy that someone that would do that is still running around out there. And going back to Delphi, there's a case I thought would never get solved, and then all of a sudden they arrest the prime suspect. Patty, I read Suda's great article critiquing that kid whose parents said he was a reincarnated World War II pilot. Yes, that was a great article. Very good. It's Leigener. Am I saying it right? Leigener was that kid's name. But yeah, he Sudas doesn't come at it from the angle of it's not possible to be reincarnated or anything like that. He just looks at all the facts and see if the stories measure up, and really does an incredible job of putting all the known facts into a pretty stringent set of principles that he uses, like surprise versus no surprise principles and stuff like that he knows. I think it's Leininger. I think is how it's pronounced. Yeah, that's fascinating. But yeah, the stuff he's been doing on Delphi is great. It's really good, just like that. Everything he does is great. Super smart guy. So this other Minnesota student went missing over the holidays, and they found his body. Says the search for missing University of Minnesota student has been canceled after a body was found in the Mississippi River on Wednesday. The Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office has identified a man found deceased as Austin. I can't say his last name is Retterath, Retterath, 19, according to a new release. The investigation concluded there was no indication of foul play. So I thought this was interesting. So this guy, college student, he's 19 years old. He's at a bar that night over the holidays, and he's talking to some girls, and it's close to closing time, I think almost 2 a.m. or something. And he tells the girls he's talking to he's going to go to the bathroom and he's going to come right back. Well, apparently he never came right back. He leaves the bar for some unknown reason when he told them they'd be right back. We don't know how intoxicated this student was. But what I thought was interesting is they found his car keys near a dumpster. And then a little further down an alleyway in a snowbank, they found his wallet. And so he gets a little further beyond that. I don't know exactly where they found his body, but it looks like he froze to death because it was so cold that night. I think it was like 2 degrees or something like that, and he wasn't wearing a heavy coat because I think I said he was just drunk. He didn't realize how cold it was. He was able to get out there into that cold without it really hitting him because he was so intoxicated. It still goes to the theory, but why would he take his car keys out, even if he's drunk? And his car was there in the parking lot, so maybe he just was too drunk to drive. He's going to walk home. Why would he take his car keys out? I mean, I get it. He's drunk, but are you going to do something like that? Just pull your car keys out and drop them at the dumpster? I mean, even intoxicated, something has to make you have the thought to do that. And then to go a little further down and then lose your wallet. I don't get that. I can understand if he was drunk enough to leave them at the bar, but not making it outside where you would think these items are in his pocket. I'm sure maybe it's how they say it went. He just went outside and he got too cold and he got too far away and he died. But I don't understand the car keys in the wallet getting out of his pants pockets, assuming is where they were. Maybe he was just holding those items when he left. It's just crazy. Hey Jay, how are you? Hey Brian, what's up? And then I found another article. This one was in Minnesota. That happened a few days earlier that made me started thinking of these different these different guys that go missing, these college age students, which reminds me of the Brian Shaffer story. You know, the guy that went missing at the bar. Yeah, that fits the pattern. College male drunk found near the water, usually athletic, and 80% of them with Germanic descent. The Germanic descent, that's interesting. I don't know if this guy was or not. I mean, that name looks pretty German. And when I think of that, it comes up in a lot of the David Paulides stuff where a lot of the people that go missing in the national parks are of a Germanic descent. But, that makes me think of Brian Shaffer. I mean, Shaffer is a German name, so he's Germanic descent. Yeah, he was thinking about it. That's true. I didn't put the Germanic descent with some of these college students going missing. When I think of them, I'm thinking of David Paulides' stuff, but you're right. A lot of them are. Brian Shaffer, certainly a German name. But yeah, these college students go missing. They're athletic and they're either found near water or, I've heard these tied into the smiley face killer, where they'll find them by the water. They'll find the body later by the water and you'll see the smiley face drawn in paint. That makes me think of this too. Like maybe what happened to this guy in Minnesota. Maybe, there was one case that comes up a lot when they talk about the smiley face killer. Of course, that's never been proven. It's only a theory that a guy came up with, that these college age guys go missing and they find their bodies near water. And then sometimes they'll find a smiley face painted nearby to think it's this smiley face killer, or, this group of killers called the smiley face killers. But there's one that comes up a lot of this college age male that was drinking at a bar, and he was in Pittsburgh, I believe. And he was talking to a friend of his, and there was actually a car following him, and he was paranoid about it. And he told a girl he was with, "Hey, I think they slipped me a drug at a bar or something, and they've been following me and tracking me." And the girl kind of wrote it off, and the guy sprinted away from her or something like that, and he was never seen again. I think at least for a couple of weeks, and then they found his body near water with another smiley face deal. But he thought that he was being tracked by somebody. So yeah, who knows with Brian Shaffer? He could have run into that. I mean, of course, Brian Shaffer's body has never been found. Some people think he's still in the bar. I doubt it. I mean, that would start smelling after a while if his body was still somehow encased in the bar, but they don't know how he got out because he never showed up on the videotape. But I think about the Brian Shaffer deal a lot. I was going to write a book about it. I was getting a lot of information from a lady that knew Brian's father really well. It was kind of giving me some inside stuff. Nothing huge other than he had an ex-girlfriend that was engaged, that he had a relationship with, and he was really mad at Brian and said he was going to kill him one day and stuff like that. But I mean, you don't know. Maybe he runs into that guy at the Ugly Tuna and then he does him in. Anything's possible. Of course, Brian's friend Clint is very shady. He, of course, famously wouldn't take a lie detector test about what he knew about Brian, but some people think, hey, maybe Clint was just dealing drugs and he didn't want that to come out because he had a big career ahead of himself. And he did go on to some pretty big stuff. He's a medical researcher, but Clint's a strange guy. I've seen a lot of weird stories about Brian Shaffer's friend Clint. But yeah, these guys going missing, college age, found near water. Uh, I don't know. I just don't understand why this guy, and we don't know all the details, takes his keys out and goes a little further and takes his wallet out. Even intoxicated, why do you do that? Yeah, Shaffer was never found. They have never found Brian Shaffer. A lot of these turn up, but Brian was never found. I mean, some people think he made it to the Denny's across, I mean, the Wendy's restaurant across the street, but um, it's not proven. Maybe he got into a car. There's so many theories about Brian Shaffer. Some say that he owed some drug dealer some money, but none of those ever panned out. I think his cousin knew something about him that he never revealed. That he had said he had some weird dark side to him. I never found out what that was. Yeah, the hand signals are weird with Brian Shaffer. Somebody told me once that they could have been done from taking antipsychotic medication could make you do that weird hand stuff that Brian would do. Hey Lisa, Lisa, I never asked you about the Idaho murders because obviously you're not too far from there, and I know one of the victims is from Coeur d'Alene, and you're in Sun Valley. I wonder if there's any local. I'd be careful, Lisa, because whoever did this to those college students is still within 150 miles of you, most likely, which is scary. Z Crews take on Idaho. Yeah, that's yeah with Brian, and that's just scary. But there was another case in Minnesota where they found another college student left the bar. Same old story. Found him near a body of water. The autopsy couldn't determine what happened to him. They don't know if he was drugged or what happened. But another one of those college age kids going and never found again. And a lot of these, like, there's one here in Texas. This guy just went missing, and Jason Landry is his name. He was driving home from college, athletic, and he's, he might have been smoking marijuana, but he doesn't make it home. He goes near this little nowhere town called Lulings, Texas. His car, it looks like it hits a tree, but not so bad that it wasn't still drivable. And they know that he gets out of his car and he starts walking down a road and he starts taking his clothes off. And it wasn't cold that night. It was in Texas. It was November. It was chilly, but it wasn't where he was going to get hypothermia or something. And he starts taking his clothes off in the middle of the road because they found his clothes scattered. Actually, his father found his clothes scattered in the middle of the road where his car was abandoned. And the police didn't even find that. It took his father to do it because once they called the parents and saying, hey, we found your son's car over here in the middle of nowhere, his father drove an hour and a half to where he went missing and said, look, this is my son's clothes laying in the middle of the road. There was no reason for this kid to start just stripping his clothes off and walking off into the wilderness, never to be seen again. But Jason Landry is still missing. They just increased the reward for that. And it's been 2 years now. No sign of Jason whatsoever, but he's that same age. I don't know if he's a Germanic descent or not. Landry's what we call it, like, so it's a Louisiana name. You see a lot here in Texas. He's from probably like 30 minutes away from me. I didn't see the Dr. Phil episode about the Idaho murders. What did they think happened? I'll have to check it out. Wonder if it's on YouTube yet, or maybe I can DVR it. No, I want to see that. Yeah, the car that was abandoned reminds me of the Yuba County Five. Other than these guys were alone and the boys were all together, but it is weird like that. Yeah, cold night. Hey, Evan. Hey, Teresa. I'm not a big Dr. Phil fan. You know who the kid was that went on Dr. Phil? That I say kid. He was a young adult. He was the one that did bum fights. Remember bum fights where this guy would film the homeless people? And I guess I don't remember what I don't know if that was even before YouTube, but the guy's name is his last name's Beeson, and we're all related down the line somewhere. But he's the guy that went on Dr. Phil dressed just like him. He had like the bald cap on and the mustache. It was perfect. And he was going to be a guest, and he shows up looking exactly like Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil threw him off the show. I think he's like the first guy that ever got thrown off of Dr. Phil. I think his name's Trent Beeson, something Beeson, but this guy's all over the place. And I definitely don't know him, but we're probably related down the line. Not about the actual potential suspects, about the murders and victims with charts of the house layout. Yeah, I know it's a pretty big house. You're not too far away from there, so be careful. Because I have a feeling this whoever did this is probably still in Moscow. Kind of just like Delphi, where the guy that's responsible for the Delphi murders was there all along, living amongst them. He was even part of the search crew for those two little girls that were murdered, or the two teenagers that were murdered. Is there any big Zodiac stuff coming soon? I've been listening to your old stuff. No, appreciate it, Evan. Well, I know according to Professor Horan, there's a documentary coming out that's really big, all Zodiac related, and he's definitely a part of it. I don't know if you saw his last upload, but he gives a little bit more information on that, but he doesn't know when it's going to come out. But he says there's lots of good stuff. Obviously, it's going to cover his theory, or he wouldn't be in it. But I think it's going to cover a lot of other things too. So that's going to be on Peacock. So hopefully that show is going to get scheduled really soon, because we definitely need a new Zodiac documentary. Who's focused on the suspects? Hey Gonzo, what's up, man? I hope you healed up well, Gonzo. It's either a serial killer or inner Greek sororities frat circle. Somebody else mentioned that to me, that it could be something like that. Because I know that the one couple, the two Moscow students that were dating, were at the Sigma Chi fraternity house that night. Somebody said there was some kind of fight there that night. I don't know if that was ever proven or not. There was a fight at the Sigma Chi house with her or him or both, and they left. But that could be just some Reddit scuttlebutt. Following a former FBI agent with her Twitter post about the Idaho murders. You have to, yeah, message me that. I want to see what she's saying about him. Headed up and out grinding. Appreciate that. Thanks, Gonzo. Yeah, that's good, man. I'm glad you're feeling better. I can tell my daughter needs something. No, man, I'm glad you're feeling better, Gonzo. But I don't know if he ever said who his Stein suspect is, Evan. I don't know if that was Hal Snook, or if he ever said. I'll have to ask him. I forgot. Patty, do you know who Professor Horn's suspect was for Stein? Yes, yes, yes. It is related to his theory. It's not all about his theory, but it's going to cover it, according to him. It's definitely looking into his theory, but I think it's looking at some other things too. He's not the only part of it, but I think that's a big part of it is Horn's theory. Oh, you don't know? I don't either. I don't know if it was. something with Snook or somebody that knew Snook. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him. But yeah, it should be good. It should, I mean, whatever they do, I think anytime you come out with a big documentary about any of these cases, it puts more light on it. Even DB Cooper, even that last DB Cooper documentary, who did retread Robert Rackstraw, was still good for all things DB Cooper because it got more people looking into the case, and kind of helped it grow. People go read about it, and they may not look like the suspect that's the main suspect that's presented on the show, but they might become interested in seeing it. Then they go look at all the suspects or go to Wikipedia and learn more about it. So even if it's something people don't agree with, I think it's good when they put more shows out there because there's always a new group of people that have never heard of them. But I'll have to ask them for sure. But yeah, the Idaho thing, definitely gonna be interested in how that turns out. I mean, I don't like to cast too many assumptions on what may have happened or too much speculation, which is all we have in a case like that. But that is scary, how somebody can do that in this day and age and already be 6 weeks and not know when you just walk into a house and brutally murder 4 college students with a knife, and somebody that doesn't know this person hasn't turned them in. It's crazy. It's true. New technology all the time. I mean, the DNA technology is getting better and better, particularly here with where I live, or near the Woodlands, Texas, where a lab called Othram is, and a guy named David Middleman is doing the best DNA research in the world right now. Oh, you're one of Horan's boosters on his pay for show. He digs up some good stuff. Yeah, he does. He digs up some great stuff. He ties a lot of stuff in together. Always enjoy talking to him. Professor Warren knows a lot about a lot of different subjects, no doubt about it. Son of Sam, Manson, history. He knows it all. But I can't remember what his thing with Stein was. I don't know. Maybe he never said, but maybe they'll look at that in this show that's coming out. Yes, he does. And hopefully there'll be a new DB Cooper show coming out soon. Yes, we need an all Ted Braden show. I said it. You heard me. So if anyone's listening, we're ready to put that together. It's going to be a 3-hour show all about Ted Braden. He said something about a guy named Hashim Sayed. I've never seen that name. I'll look it up. Definitely. Oh, yeah, the spelling, but someone can correct you. Yeah, I'll look it up. I don't remember him. I knew he had somebody, but I can't remember. I didn't remember him announcing it, but I'll look at that. And maybe they'll look into that into the show. Would be great. They could dig into this thing about Stein. That Stein thing always bothers me so bad, especially after talking to somebody that knew him really well. What a good guy he was. So looks like everything's working. So I'm gonna have some new shows coming up soon. The ones with the professor students are gonna come pretty soon. I know Nikki wants to come back on. I don't. I think I don't know. I think his pay side is up, but he's Horn's revamping everything. I know that, like his YouTube channel and everything, kind of to go in line with the TV show, which is pretty smart. Mitch is on the expert with yeah. Oh yeah, he mentions it on the that's the Zodiac Killer channel with the interview with the expert series that Horn was on. I was on that too. So yeah, that's coming up. Uh, Doing something with Nikki pretty soon. He wants to come on, maybe Ryan or both. Some of the DB Cooper stuff, and God, I want to get David Middleman on with Authorham about the DNA. I'm gonna reach out to him and get him on pretty soon. But that's all I have for tonight. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay tuned. Going to be some new shows coming up really soon.